Welcome back to the channel, guys. It is me, ID744, and today, guys, I asked you guys a question in the community tab. What result do you change in football for both club and country? We had some very interesting responses, guys. So I'm gonna take a moment to react to you guys' responses. And like I said, guys, if you guys want to get more involved in this kind of stuff, these kind of videos get featured, just comment in the community tab. That's the best way for you to get featured, and I give everyone a fair chance. So I've looked through all the comments. I gave everyone a week to do this, and we're gonna go ahead and react to you guys' responses. So let's start with the first one we got from International, from Random Bulgarian Map. Says 94 semifinal, Bulgaria to make the final. Yeah, I mean, that would have been monumental. Had they defeated Italy, it was a close game. It would have been crazy. And that is actually I believe that's the best Bulgarian finish in the World Cup history. They have never done anything better than that. And we'll probably never see Bulgaria ever reach the semifinals again in your lifetime. Probably won't happen. And I think that in itself is an incredible achievement. Now, obviously, to make a final would have also been special as well. Playing a World Cup final, 50-50 final as well, it would have been great. You would have played against a Brazil team that had the likes of Romario, etc. And I do feel like, could they win the final? Probably not. I think that Brazil team was stacked. But I think they could. I think making a final is still an incredible achievement. So shout out to Bulgaria for that one. And yeah, like I said, you'll probably never see that happen ever again. Next one we got here is a 12-13 Europa League final. Benfica 2 to Chelsea 1. Yeah, Benfica. I believe that's the last time Benfica's made a European final in their history, and that would have been monumental for Benfica had they had won that Europa League because they I believe there's been a curse on Benfica where they can't win a trophy in like 50 years or something. Someone did a curse like that, and it would have been crazy if they were able to break that curse. But obviously they haven't, and yeah. So shout out to uh, Chelsea for winning that, I guess. But yeah, it's a shame for Benfica because we may never see them make a European final again in our lifetime. So yeah. Let's move to the next one we got here from Eddy's Football Waffle says, would change the last AFCON final, have Nigeria win. Okay, that's a good one. Nigeria win an AFCON for the first, and since 2013. This will have been huge for Nigeria, and I think Nigerians will be so confident for this one. As much as if Nigeria had won, though, it might have been one of the worst AFCON winners because my goodness me, man, Nigeria played so bad in the AFCON, so defensive. It was so bad. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you win. It's just whether you win or not. And so Nigerians obviously they wouldn't be that happy compared to the other ones, but of course they would still be happy at the end of the day. It's still a trophy at the end of the day, and we may never see Nigeria win a trophy again. When is the next time we're gonna see Nigeria win a trophy? We know Nigerian FA is a very controversial, obviously. And for club, definitely abolish the 7-0 against United at Anfield. Yes, absolutely. If I was a United fan, I would definitely want to abolish the result. It's one of the most embarrassing L's United have had in the recent years. And to lose 7-0 against United at Anfield, and that to that Liverpool team. See, it's one thing to lose 7-0, but it's another thing to lose 7-0 to a very bad Liverpool team because that might be one of the worst Liverpool teams I've seen in recent years. That Liverpool team wasn't great, and the fact they lost 7-0, and that was actually a good United team. United were actually good that time, guys, is crazy to me. So, for me, understandable. Next up, we got here, look what the Ethiopian National says. Ethiopia versus Nigeria 2014 World Cup qualification round 3. I wish Ethiopia had won this and had scored enough goals for the other leg to not matter, so we qualify for the 2014 World Cup. Yeah, it's a good shout, man. This was probably the best chance Ethiopia had to make a World Cup, and given the volatile nature of the playoffs, it was sad to see them miss out in so close fashion. And I just think for Ethiopia in particular, man, we may never see them qualify for a World Cup in your lifetime. And I believe they're the most populous country in Africa as well, so they have never made the World Cup. So yeah, it's a shame, man. It's a shame, and I we'll see, man. We'll see if Ethiopia can ever do it. And so it's heartbreaking, man. It's heartbreaking. So and as you said, if you won the first leg, let's say like 3-0, then the second leg, park the bus, get a 1-0 loss or 2-0 loss, you'd be fine to go. So, but obviously it wasn't to be in Nigeria. Obviously, it ran through as winners. Matt's Attack 9 says, Porto joined Inter Milan. Yeah, Porto. That would have been a good one. Like, I imagine Porto had made the Champions League final that season, or maybe the semifinal. Because I think they do beat Benfica. I do believe they give a game to Milan. Now, I don't know if they beat Milan per se. It's a very close one. It's very 50-50. If I had to make a prediction at the time, I would. It depends how big the. It depends how well Porto do against Benfica. If Porto like destroy Benfica in such a destructive faction, then possibly. So this might have been the best chance to see Porto make a Champions League final in a long time. Obviously, since they won it, obviously 2006 with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, he's most remembered for. So Yeah, I mean, that would have been monumental. Obviously, they'd lose to Manchester City. There's no way they're going to beat Manchester City in that final. I think that goes without saying. But it would have been amazing if they could have played in the Champions League final. And remember, guys, it would have had an old Clasico for the first time in Champions League. That's never happened before in history. And then for country, Matt's picks the England, Spain to England 1 Euro 2024 final. It's understandable, man, because England, that England team looked really good. But that Spain team, man, that Spain team was too good. That Spain team was too good. And England lost again. I will say this though. What about the Euro 2020? Because I honestly think, for me, England, while the team wasn't as good as the Euro 2024, I do feel like that one was a bigger missed opportunity because you were at home for that one. You had majority of the games at home, as well as the fact you played against the Italy team. Like, let's keep it a stat, guys. Was very average. It wasn't that great of an Italy team, and you also led in the final, and to lose on penalties at home. Yeah, for me, I would say that would also sting as well. Now it depends which one stings for you. Obviously, I can't talk for you per se, but that one also must have stinged as well. So I can see where you're coming from because I do believe the England team was better in 2024, but I do believe even if England were at their best, I don't know if they beat Spain. I think that Spain team was going to win some way or another. That Spain team looked really good, but obviously a final, anything could happen. So yeah, it's a very interesting one. So thank you for the comment there, Mats. Next up, for PrimeBarca says, for countries, let's think about Qatar versus Argentina. So Argentina could win the World Cup, beat unbeaten streak, but at the end of the day, I think World Cup's more important. So I'm going to go with Germany 1, Argentina 0, and World Cup final 2014. Yeah, I think what he's trying to mean is that Argentina didn't lose to Saudi Arabia. I think you should have wrote that way because the way you kind of wrote is like Qatar's playing against Argentina, which never really happened. So I'm assuming that you meant like the World Cup that took place in Qatar. But obviously, the 1-0 loss to 2014. Like, it always wonders me to this day, what if Argentina did win that World Cup final in 2014? Like, just that reaction, and then for them to win it in Brazil, their arch rivals, like, that would have been a nightmare for Brazil fans. Not only did we lose to the team that destroyed us, we also let our rivals win the World Cup at our own stadium. You know how devastating that would be for Brazilians? So Brazilians, man, they have to thank the Germans all this day because the Germany has saved them. And let's be real, guys. Messi was great in that tournament. He wasn't as good in the knockout stage compared to the group stage, but he still had a good tournament. And I do feel like that Argentina team was so good defensively. So yeah, a lot of things would have been different, man. And for club, I'd rather Barca beat Liverpool in aggregate 2019 UCL semifinal. Of course, the second leg. That was probably our best chance to get a third treble. We may not get another chance to get a treble again in our lifetime, and that might have been the best chance. That might have been the best chance, and so yeah, understandable, man. Understandable. Good one. Good picks there, Prime Barca. And only Tubbs. Wow, you got a lot to comment. So let's try to break this whole thing down. So I'm just gonna read the. But yeah, here it is. You guys can read the other parts there. I don't want to keep you guys too long. So let's read this. So for a country, I immediately go to that. So for AFCON, if we win either game against Cameroon or Egypt, we would have made it out of the groups, which would have been an achievement for us. Because Zimbabwe, we have never made it the group stage. Wow, interesting. That's actually a fun fact. I didn't actually know that. And for club, as tempting as the CL semi and 11-12 is, I feel like although it was painful, it led to a good domino effect for us in the long term run. So I'm gonna have to go with the 16-17 Copa del Rey that I always reference. I think we had beaten Celta Vigo in the quarters. That was our best chance to at a trouble because I fancied our chances doing it or Juju against the remaining likes of Alaves, Atletico, Barca, and Eastern if you discovered that bump. Let's be real, guys. That might have been the best opportunity for Real Madrid to win a treble in the lifetime. Because we may not see Real Madrid win a treble. Now, obviously, in the future, it could happen. But in the past, in terms of past, that is the best chance for Real Madrid to win a treble. And I do believe that's a very, very good pick. So, yeah, I mean, I understand where Tapia is coming from. I understand where Tapia is coming from because that's Celta Vigo. It's all because the thing is, guys, Real Madrid they usually do well in the league or the Champions League. It's always the Copa del Rey they mess up in, and the time they win the Copa del Rey is when they don't win the league or when they don't win the Champions League. It's one of the two. So we'll see though Real Madrid ever wins the treble. And this one here, from a neutral perspective, my African brother Ghana versus Uruguay. That Ghana side deserved to go through the plot and Morocco eventually got to and my moment forever haunts me. Yeah, I mean, if you're Ghanaian, man, you have to hate Suarez for doing the handball. But at the same time, though, it's not Suarez's fault you guys didn't convert the penalty. As on the day, it's Asamoah Gyan. That's the guy that Ghanaians should be mad at. Obviously, Suarez to some degree as well. I'm not saying he shouldn't get any blame. but they should also be massive Gion. And the fact he missed that penalty, man, and they lost on penalties. And we may not see Ghana ever be in that position of a World Cup ever again. I don't know if we'll ever see it. And that would have been the first African nation to be in the semifinals. And thankfully, Morocco came clutch in the last World Cup and defeated Portugal. But, it would have been special if Ghana were the first one. Because, Ghana are one of the most decorated countries in Africa. They have such an incredible history there, and it would have been awesome for them. So, yeah, very good comments there from Tapiwa. I like this ones. From Epi7 Games says, clubs, Gozunu Evergrade won Nil Al Ali, the Champions League final. Pretty obvious reason here. If we had won, we could have won the Asian Champions League, and we could have faced MSN Barcelona Club World Cup. Ooh, that would have been a good one. Yeah, that would have been a good one. And let's be real, will we ever see them make the Champions League final ever again in Asia? It's gonna be a long time, man. And then this one right here. So if we had won the UAE won, Saudi Arabia won. If we had won here, we got a higher seeding and avoided starting the third round draw. We were top five Asia at that point. We got unlucky to get three of the top five in our group: Japan, Australia, and Saudi. Yeah, it's a shame, man. That might have been the best chance for UAE to make the World Cup. But obviously, with the expanded format now, there is a good chance for UE. I think UE can have what it takes to make a World Cup. It's going to come down to a wire. I think they're going to have to go through the playoffs path. And we'll see if they can do it, because it would be awesome for MP7 Games to have his country be at a World Cup. Because obviously, being in a World Cup is huge, man. So, yeah, very unlucky for UAE. And they could have maybe avoided Saudi and maybe qualified for the 2018 World Cup. History will never know, but a lot could have been different. As Samy says, for country, Bahrain 3, Iran 1. Iran traveled as leaders to this game and battled with the talented generation for the spot 2002 World Cup. Iran had to go through intercontinental playoffs, as we nearly lost a very good Republic Ireland generation. Therefore, we never got Ali Daei to see his primary World Cup. And obviously, guys, for those that don't know, Ali Daei is one of the top goal scorers of all time, international. Obviously, he's been surpassed by Ronaldo, but I believe he's the second highest, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I mean, it would have been sad to see. And I do believe that might have been the best Iran team. That could have been one of the best Iran teams we've had at World Cup, because obviously Iran have never made it past the group stage. And I do believe that Iran team could have potentially. And remember, guys, World Cup was taking place in South Korea and Japan at that time. So I do believe they could have made the round of 16. They could have. But obviously, we'll never know to this day. Either for club, Chelsea 2, Fenerbahce. We won the return leg and Istanbul 1-0. So we had scored an away goal at Stamford Bridge. We would have made the semifinals, which would have been incredible. Yeah. That might have been the best. Is that the best? I think that's the best that Fenerbahce ever reached in the Champions League. So, and let's be real, with the new format, it's going to be very unlikely we're going to see Fenerbahce ever make a semifinals again in the Champions League. Well, I mean, we'll probably never see them make it that far again. So yeah. The next up we got here from Parker. Parker here. Spain versus South Korea 2002 World Cup. That most disgraceful match I ever witnessed. Spanish had two players' goals ruled out, all sorts of refereeing bias to go against him. It also robbed me. Would have been a dream final of Spain versus Brazil. A prime Ronaldo Nazario against half his Real Madrid Galacticos teammates. What a matchup that would have been. Such a shame we were robbed of witnessing it. Yeah, it's a shame, man. And I really do believe it is one of the most disgraceful referees we've had in his in a long time, because that was ridiculous. South Korea made the semifinals. They robbed Italy. They robbed Spain as well. And, you're right, man. Spain versus Brazil would have been very good. And let's be real, guys. That Germany team, they weren't really that great. It was really Oliver Kahn that was amazing for that Germany team. And that Spain team versus Brazil. Now, I still think Brazil would have won it. I still think Brazil would have beaten Spain. But you never know, man. That Spain team was great, too. So, yeah, it's a shame that we didn't get to see it. And yeah, hopefully that never happens again in the future. And then for a Liverpool fan, the JR versus Chelsea 2014 have been very close second. That game ultimately cost us the title this season. Still playing photo to watch all these years later. Yeah, it's understandable. He had that infamous slip, and he was such a good player, man. He's such an amazing player, but he had to do that moment of slip, man. Yeah. But yeah, Liverpool did go on to win the 2020 title at least. And who knows, they could very well win the title this season. So we'll never know, man. But yeah, good picks there from Parker. PrimeBarca says, we got here El Salvador 2, Jamaica 2. El Salvador needed to win in order to stand a chance to qualify directly for the 1980 World Cup in France. While Jamaica needed at least a draw to be closer to the World Cup. I was not born that day, but my dad went there, and unfortunately we drew at home at the Castilian Stadium. Eventually lost to us 4-2 in the final match day. Well, Jamaica ended up qualifying for France by drawing Mexico. If we beat Mexico, if we beat Jamaica, the same results occurred in the final match day, we would have had 12 points and Jamaica 11 points. Yeah, that might have been the best chance for El Salvador to make a World Cup, and obviously they didn't. Obviously they, I think, obviously they have qualified for the World Cup. But that was probably the best chance they've had in recent years to qualify for the World Cup, and that was probably the closest. And then obviously for club, we just discussed already the Liverpool Chelsea game in Anfield, where obviously Gerrard slipped and Demba Ba scored, and obviously Manchester City won the Premier League that season. So yeah, very very same there. Doodle. One night says Bologna 2 in 2022. We literally could have won the title if we won the game. We had it in game in hand. We fumbled it because of our mistake. That would have been crazy, guys. Because Inter, guys, if you guys think about it, Inter could have actually done back-to-back Serie A titles. Because remember, they ended the Juve streak the year before, and that would have been huge. And Milan only won the league by 1 point. Imagine if Inter didn't lose that game, guys. Inter could have won Serie A back-to-back. It would have been an incredible achievement, and I think it would have been fantastic. So shout out to Milan for doing it, though. They broke their, I believe the last time they won was like 2013, I believe. Or was it, no, I think it was 2011, actually. I think 2011 was the last time they won this. No, was it 2013? I'll have to do my age. I'll have to check when I do the Eddy. But I believe, but that's crazy, guys. Like, Inter could have very much won back-to-back Serie A titles. And yeah, it is what it is. And the Ukraine nil, Belgium nil. The Euro tells me if we won that game, we would have gone to the knockout stage of the Euros. Yeah, that's a good pick. I'm surprised he didn't pick the World Cup qualifier loss to Wales. I thought that would have been more heartbreaking for you. But yeah, I mean, this one, though, it's a good pick. It's a good pick. Shreyo 69 says, I don't know about national, but for club, I would say the Ajax versus Spurs match. I wish Ajax had won that. Yeah, it still pains me to this day that Spurs actually managed to beat Ajax. So frustrating. It was so sad. Like, Ajax was so good that season, bro. I mean, they defeated Real Madrid. They defeated Juventus. They would have defeated Spurs. Now, do I think they would have won that final? Probably not. They would have probably lost to Liverpool. But for Ajax to reach a Champions League final for that many years and a long time, because I believe the previous time was 1995. And that Ajax team was so good, man. But it is what it is. And we'll probably never see Ajax ever reach a semifinal again or a Champions League ever again in our history. So, yeah, that's a good pick. The Poii 6417 says Scotland 2, England 2. I'd take a Kane's goal. Yep, this was a good pick. You know, Scotland, obviously, this World Cup qualifier match. And obviously, England scored a dramatic late equalizer there. And Scotland was very close. It's a painful one. Scotland could have beat England. And you know how big that would have been for Scottish fans. And obviously, this would have been huge for Scotland and the World Cup aspirations. And then we got here from Sebastian, AK 1891 says River played one, Colo nil. Liberos quarters as a trade. I believe a win away at River, then we could have won the Libertadores legit. I don't know if you guys would have won the Libertadores, but you guys would have made the semis. And I do believe that River Plate team was very average. It was very beatable. But I do believe you guys would have lost to Atletico Mineiro. And if you guys didn't lose to Atletico Mineiro, you probably lose to Botafogo. So, but still, to make a semifinal or a final would have been crazy for Colo, which we haven't seen in quite some time. And the AAK, I would say Sundersville at home 2018. We could have won the league at home. That would have been fun. Good pick there. And Chile, I would change any result. The World Cup qualifiers for 2018 that we draw or loss to a win, and that qualifies to the World Cup. You know, guys, Chile were very close to making 2018 World Cup playoffs. They only missed out on goal difference, and I think Brazil won that final game 3-0 at home against Chile. And had Chile, let's say, lost 2-0, Chile would have gone to the playoffs, and I believe at Peru's expense. So, yeah, that would have been a good one. So I would have picked that one if I were you, if I'm Chile. As Sweden has to be Poland playoffs to World Cup. So if we won that game at the group, had done something group, it was a very good Argentina that we would beat. Very good Argentina that we would beat a thrash Mexico side. Then Saudi would be easy, like 3 or 4-0. Yeah, potentially, like that was a great opportunity for Sweden to make the World Cup, but Poland had other ideas, and obviously they defeated them. So. And I think it's the final one that we got here, guys. So from Windsor, guy 3848 says, for club, I would change Chelsea versus Manchester City UCL final 2020, 2021 because I feel like Manchester City deserved it more and they were more consistent. Yeah, obviously, guys, if that was Manchester City's final to lose, I still can't believe to this day they lost the Champions League final. And I still largely believe that Manchester City team lost the Champions League final because of the fact that Rodri didn't start that game. Had Rodri started the game, Manchester City would have been so much better defensively. And let's be real, guys. That Chelsea team, as good as Chelsea team was, it was really by Conte. Conte was beast mode of that Champions League. because every other players was pretty average or decent. They wasn't any world class players. Like I'd say Conte and maybe Thiago Silva to some degree, and maybe Edouard Mendy. Those were the only like true exceptional players. But let's be real. You could ask any Chelsea fans and most general fans, they would say Conte was the best player, and he definitely was. And so I do feel like that was Manchester City's Champions League to lose, but they eventually won 2023. They won the treble, and every team needs to take a loss in the final for the first attempt. You know, so yeah. And then for country, I would change France was the Croatia World Cup final in 2018 because I feel like Croatia deserved better because they were one of the most underrated teams in the tournament who managed to reach the final. Yeah, I wish Croatia won that final as well because they were so good. They played so good football. They were fantastic, defensively amazing. Mandzukic, Vida, you got Subasic there in goal. Like that Croatia team was amazing, but obviously France were too good. So thank you guys for commenting, guys. I think it was a very interesting video, guys. If you guys did enjoy it, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Remember, guys, to like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you guys later, man. Peace out.